welcome back to part 2. If you missed part 1, I'm going to link it in the description box below, but today we are talking with Carissa. She is half Filipino and half American, and she's sharing her experiences and thoughts on that whole thing. So honestly, if you want to encapsulate it, she's basically saying that they're the same as everybody else, but there's a few cool things that they get to experience that we don't. Pretty much is the takeaway. No, but seriously, there's more to it than that, so keep watching. Moving on, I wanted to ask a question about, where did we go? Yeah, I took notes here. I cannot remember what I'm doing, especially when I have someone on the screen with me, like Carissa, who's beautifully distracting in a good way. Alright, pros and cons. I want you to list me 3 things you love about having 2 different types of backgrounds, and 3 things that are kind of difficult, if there are any.
3 things I love. Okay. I think I really like how it gives me a perspective of, like, other cultures, and I know that sounds really stereotypical, but I think it makes you less judgmental towards, like, people's actions or the way that they, like, interact, because you realize, like, if just 2 cultures could be so different, like, imagine so many different people, each growing up in a different way, like, in a different, even different part of America, or, like, where something is considered okay, and then another place it's considered, like, the worst thing you could ever do. So, like, if you see the difference that culture can have on, like, the way people interact with other people, and you learn not to get offended so easily. I like the people that I can meet and then instantly bond with. Like every time I meet a Filipino, I often do this. I'm like, what's your ethnicity? Whenever I see someone that I suspect is Filipino, and all my, like, American friends I'm with are like, Carissa, that's so weird. You don't just ask people, like, what ethnicity they are. And I was like, well, I think they're Filipino. And then they'll, like, normally try to be convincing me out of doing it, and then I'll just, like, come and be like, so, what are you? And then they'll be half Filipino, because it's like I've gotten a good eye at, like, telling whether people are half Filipino. And then I can just, like, meet people wherever, like, all over the world, and just, like, they'll, like, at school, at, like, just different random places, and we'll just, like, instantly talk about, like, what it's like being from both cultures and stuff. And I really do love the, like, sort of performance culture they have. Like, one thing I love is funny, a weird thing. I love karaoke, and it's, like, not as loved here. Like, I feel like, but in the Philippines when I went, there was, like, karaoke everywhere, and, like, it's just, like, a fun activity that, like, we would do for fun. We would just go out and karaoke, and, like, I love performing and sort of stuff like that, so that's what I liked about it.
I remember when we were little, your mom handed me one of those, like, toy microphones that makes your voice echo. She's like, here, sing karaoke, and I was like, I don't know what that is. I think it's cool.
It's like in my blood.
I have one more comment on something that you said when you're talking about spotting someone else who's also got some Filipino background. I saw I made a new friend recently on Facebook, and I was scrolling through their family pictures, and because that's what every person does when they get a new Facebook friend, right? You stalk their pictures a little bit. And I saw, like, family photos from Christmas, and I saw a lot of folks in there that I'm almost positive were Filipino, and I want to be like, hey, do you have Filipino family members too? And I'm like, that would be weird, but, you know, so...
Yeah.
It's like that instant, like, oh, I get you!
But you're like, I don't want you to know it, I was looking at your pictures, like, whatever.
But anyway, alright, so are there 3 things that you would say are kind of difficult about
Nothing, I'm just kidding. I think the most difficult thing is sometimes people, like what I was telling you earlier, is, like, I don't really have to experience any of the negative side of things because I'm, like, white and Filipino, but, like, my mom, like, she's so gracious and, like, loving and stuff, so she doesn't even notice sometimes the way people treat her differently, but, like, she has an accent and stuff like that, but, sometimes people think of Asian people as, like, cute, like, oh, they're so cute, like, and so people will talk down to, like, my mother, like, they'll be like, okay, like, do you get it? And, like, a lot of Filipino culture that I experience has been, like, you ask a lot of questions, and so my mom does that, and people take it to make her, like, that she's not smart, and they get really annoyed at her, and she's like, so wait, what's this, or, like, let me clarify, like, what's this, and then they'll be like, they'll just be like, okay, do you get it, and so just not very polite, and, like, kind of, like, doubting her intelligence, even though she's, like, she went to the best, like, college in the Philippines, but it's just her different culture that here they would think that looks as, like, someone who's not smart, but she is. So I don't like that, so I don't like seeing that, like my mom have to deal with that. Another thing I don't like is...
Do you ever have to face stereotypes?
Yeah, so I actually did a project on racism against, like, Asians, but again, like, a lot of this is not anything that I've had to experience, because people, and me and my sister talk about this, they're like, oh wow, you're so exotic, you're like Filipino, you're like whatever, but sometimes that same attitude isn't had towards like people who are fully Filipino, or like, you know, but it, like, so I think though a lot of like Asians that have had to experience it, they'll be like, oh, you're Asian, you're so smart, and so they have this, if they're not like, even if they're just average, but they're not like at the level of like what they think an Asian should be at, they like feel like really not smart, and they feel like they're doing like really poorly because they're not meeting the expectation that people have of them, even if they're just kidding, like even jokes like get in your head and stuff like that. And I mean, I never really felt that way, but I know like Asian friends that have felt that way because of the stereotype.
How did you feel, like, how do you feel when people comment about, like, oh, you're exotic?
Yeah.
How do you feel when that happens?
Again, this was the thing I was talking about with my sister. It was like, it's like kind of at first it's like, oh cool, like yeah, like I don't know, it's like a thing that makes us feel like special, but like it's kind of bad because it's like all I am is just like half. It's not like I did anything to like deserve this and stuff. And the one thing that I felt bad about in the Philippines was like, and I think, okay, this is like a big thing that like culture like shock that I think a lot of people who live overseas and then come back to America will have to deal with. Sure. So in the Philippines, you're treated kind of like royalty sometimes if you're like half white. And then I know this about with like other kids who grew up overseas and then came back to the States where they're like not treated specially, and they're like, what's this? Like, why am I not getting like special treatment? It's like because you're like everybody else, like, you know, and they're not gonna like treat you like royalty and stuff wherever you go. And but also like me and my sister were talking about how like you want to treat people like they're the same as you, because the only thing you have different is that you are part another culture and like they are not, and like those are both choices that neither of you made. So like don't egg on sort of the like feeling of like royalty and like all this stuff. And kind of like a lot of times people will go overseas and like love doing missions and like love how the people make them feel because they feel so honored all the time, but that shouldn't be like the motivation just because like the people see you as like higher than them because you're from like another country or like super important. So like don't rely on that, because if you do, it can have like really bad results whenever you come back to America and you realize you're just like everybody else in a good way. You're like unique and special, but like you don't deserve like high above all the time. I don't know.
That's gotta wear off eventually. Like, if you get to know people long enough, they're gonna find out that you are just like them.
Yeah.
That used to bug me in Honduras. In my Spanish video that I just did, I talked a little bit about these special lines they have in grocery stores for like the elderly people or for women who are pregnant. And anytime we would go shopping, it used to bug me that they would wave us over to those lines. And I was like, I don't belong in this line. I'm not pregnant and I'm not elderly. But they're like, no, come. And I know it's because I look like a foreigner. And it used to drive me crazy. I was like, don't do that. No! But it's like rude if they keep telling you to come and you're just like, no, I'm standing here. I don't know. I didn't know how to handle that.
Yeah, because you're just like, you don't want to like make a scene about it, but yeah, it's like weird.
Anyway. Thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you enjoyed listening into some of Chris's thoughts. I wanted to share her on my channel because she's such an important part of my life, and I love the fact that I get to call her family. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment below, or share it with your friends who are half Asian and half American or something else, whatever they are. If you think they would enjoy watching this and can identify, then please share it and comment below. So, can you say, how much in Tagalog can you say? Can you say have a great rest of your day in Tagalog?
1 second, I can.
She's cheating!
To know.
Have a great rest of your day!
Magandang araw!
Bye!
Bye!
We'll have somebody comment below if you pronounced it wrong.
Oh my god.
Can she pronounce Tagalog?
I'm only half, so give me a break.
Do we look alike?
What
do we
let's
look
do
like?
Even here. Okay,
have similar face
let me
shape,
have
I
curly
don't know.
hair for a second. Okay. How closer? Curly, we look alike.
We do. Except I don't have your brown eyes.
I don't have yours.
I think our mouths and our eyes are different.
Yeah, the green. I just don't know.
We have curly hair. I left it natural on purpose just for this video, so I could look like you.
I left it natural because I have this shampoo that I have to get rid of, so I had to use it. And you know my other shampoo doesn't work as well.
We're crazy.